Hi, I'm Pam Gildersleeve-Hernandez, and the following is a presentation on collecting baseline data. Baseline data is a starting point for writing good goals for IEPs. It gives us the data or the information that we will later compare other data to determine if a student is making progress on their goals and if the interventions that are being put into place are being successful. So what is baseline data? Baseline data is simply the first round of data that is being collected. So why the big deal about baseline data? The big deal is because it clearly identifies student performance. As teachers, we know our students very well, but sometimes we're not completely clear on what it is they can exactly do. We know that they know a lot of their letters, but how many? Which ones? So that we can really target our interventions. Baseline data supports clear performance understanding. It lets the parents, the staff, the teacher, the administration know exactly what it is that a student is currently achieving. Baseline data is helpful in a due process if you ever end up having to go there, and it's simply good practice. The criteria provide the parameters for good baseline data. But what are the criteria? The criteria are the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. And what does the law say? IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, you may be surprised to learn, does not specifically require data-driven baselines. However, they're legally defensible. So what do baseline data allow us to do? They establish what we refer to as strong plops, present levels of performance. They determine if the interventions and resources we're using are being successful. They provide accurate data on student performance, and they monitor patterns of behavior. As you look at writing baseline data, think, do, and be positive. Students and their parents are often very aware of what it is that they cannot achieve. And it's not uncommon for educators to share that this child cannot read this sentence, does not use punctuation correctly in their writing. What is another way that the same information can be given but be stated in a positive manner? When focusing on the positive, always report on what it is that the student can do. For example, student greeted peers by making eye contact in 0 out of 5 trials. Clearly, the student cannot perform this skill. However, the statement is written in such a manner to make it clear what the goal is, and it's written in a positive way. Student traced 2 out of 5 letters of her name correctly in 3 out of 5 trials. Again, clearly the student has not mastered the skill, but we focused on what she can do. Student brought spoon to mouth with physical guidance while eating with 100% success. Student brought spoon to mouth independently in 0 out of 5 trials. The student is not able to complete this skill. However, we have focused on what they can do, and we see in a positive manner what the goal is. So good baseline data, again, driven by criteria. In a recent baseline measure with the who, what, and where questions, supported with picture cards presented in random order, and when and why questions presented as discrete sets, John answered 4 out of 5 who questions correctly, 80%, 1 out of 5 what questions correctly, 20%, 3 out of 5 where questions, 60%, 3 out of 5 when questions, 60%, 3 out of 5 why questions, 60%. Overall, he answered 14 out of 25 WH questions correctly for an accuracy rate of 56%. This is a very well-written baseline data, But you can also see here how data could be skewed if you wanted to use it that way. If it had simply been written that this student answered 14 out of 25 WH questions correctly for an accuracy rate of 56%, we would think the student really had not mastered anything. It would not know where to focus our intervention. However, because it's specific, we see that John has mastered who questions, and that does not need to be an area of focus for intervention. So it's not that hard to create a positive focus. What can be hard to do is to do it consistently and persistently, but it is important.